attribute malice or anything like that, but think of Bill Gates as someone like the snake oil salesman. So he's got the Microsoft stock. Now, Microsoft stock, that's blue chip stuff. That's like top tier. The only thing better is Apple, right? Right? Microsoft is number one tier stock. Well, he goes around and says, hey, everybody, I got a solution to all your financial woes. Buy my Microsoft stock. And people buy it up like no other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, think of the late, 1900s and 2000s, people buying this stuff like no other. You know how much Bill Gates owns of it right now?
How much?
Probably 75%.
No, owns 1%. He sold it all, and guess what he bought? Tangible stuff.
So
he bought farmland and everything.
I want to go to this, right? We talk about the inflation, right? And then we get stocks that, like you said, they're abstract concepts like Tesla and Nvidia, where they're making, let's just say, $100 billion profit a year. Let's just say like Nvidia is making $100 billion profit a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's worth like almost 5 trillion.
Yeah.
Right. And the price is only going to keep going up. And that's taking the money out of the circulation. Am I correct? It's kind of like taking the money out of circulation.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I mean, it's not apples to apples, but it's taking the money out of circulation. Because a lot of people will give pushback. A lot of like people are really well versed in economics. Like they're going to give pushback when I say like the stock market is inflationary, because they're like, no, inflation comes from when, the government prints more money. That's like the old school definition of inflation. But really, like inflation is just a way of saying the currency is devalued.
But like, it's like this. It's like, okay, I'm Kia. I own 30 shares of Nvidia, right? Let's just pretend. But what does my 30 shares do? It's just money sitting in a security, and I can't really do anything with 30 shares. I have 30 votes. There's like 25 billion shares, right?
Yeah, and the corporate powers that be will never let like the retail holder as yourself actually have a say in like corporate board meetings.
And not only
that's
that,
a facade.
But now I want to like extend, right? I want to extend, like you don't get a say on what happens with the company. And not only that, like let's go into the new fad, AI, right? Well, it's like, okay, a good or service is being produced, right? But where is the good or service leading us? Is it leading us towards good outcomes or bad outcomes?
Yeah, and you're getting into like the like I said, the book that I wrote, The Devil's Gambit, like it has kind of a 3-layered thing. Like it's got its scriptural, spiritual reasons, it's got its economic reasons, practical reasons, stuff. You're getting into the spiritual reason, but I like to hit people with the economic reasons first, because it seems to hit home for most people, even for someone who's nominally Christian. Like they're gonna feel the weight of the economic reasons more. Unfortunately, they should feel the weight of the spiritual reasons more. But the economic reason, first off, think about the stock market as if it were a business, right? So you have $64 trillion being invested into the business. That's the $64 trillion that sits in securities. But it's only producing enough to sell $20 trillion worth of goods and services. I mean, that's not hard to do the math. Like if the stock market was treated as if it were a business, it's well in the red. Like it's really, really.
I don't even think it gets to 20 trillion. I think the 20 trillion, most of it's like real stuff, like what everyday Americans are doing. Like I don't.
No, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's not. That's why it's not an apples to apples comparison.
Right. 10 companies are like 50% of the weight of the whole ETF of the S&P.
Yeah.
Right. And how much?
Very top heavy.
How much do they produce? Well, let's just say 1 trillion.
Well,
not even.
I have a great example of this. This is where I can like really nerd out with this stuff, because this is my background and everything. But Apple. So again, the blue chip of blue chips, right? From 2015 to 2020 or 2016 to 2020, something like that. You can go back and look. Their stock price quadrupled. There was no advancement,
share buyback
whatsoever, in the product they were selling. Their stock market value quadrupled. It was already a blue chip, but it quadrupled. And they produced nothing of value. It's money demanding more money, which is, it has so many economic and spiritual ills to it, they're innumerable.
Didn't they invest most of their profit into share buybacks?
Yeah, they bought it back to drive up because it's all manipulation. It's essentially what you see in like cryptocurrencies now, or the celebrities. It's a pump and dump. It's
Do you
what you
think
see all the time.
Bitcoin is like the same thing?
Unfortunately, yes. Like I actually, I have a new friend, Steve Patterson, who wrote a book, Hijacking Bitcoin. Really, really good. Recommend it to everybody. And he makes this case too, where it was like, uh, I never pronounce his name right. What's the guy who invented Bitcoin? Or
Satoshi?
Satoshi, right?
Yeah.
Satoshi. Uh, his vision for it was very admirable, of like a currency that cannot be manipulated and everything. But he was naive because it's always going to be manipulable because you have these. It's, I mean, when was the last time you used Bitcoin to buy anything?
Never.
Never. But you treat it like it's Apple stock, don't you? Buy it up. Oh, it's going down. All right, I'm gonna sell it here. I'll buy it back when it gets down low, and you're treating it as a speculative asset, like all the other stocks, and that's where the problem lies. Like if we actually were able to, some mind much better than mine comes up with a way where it can't be manipulative and it actually is a currency that's accepted worldwide and all that kind of stuff. Fantastic, awesome. I'm all for it. But no one's using it to buy stuff. It's just another speculative asset. It's another speculative stock.
But what about using it as a hedge to inflation or like precious metals?
I think there's an argument there. I think there's a very valid argument there to where maybe because I mean, no currency is perfect. The US dollar is not perfect.